Hey everybody, welcome back to another lecture for COM 100 class. Today we're going to be talking about listening. This one actually is a very quick lecture because we're just reviewing the actual listening process. And I know it probably seems maybe silly that we would spend, time talking about listening, but it's really hard to be an effective communicator without actually building in the listening to other people, effectively listening, I should say, so that then we know how to respond in a way that maintains the relationship, also helps us to reach our own goals. So the process of listening includes, I'm just going to preview the steps and then we'll talk about each one, but it includes hearing, understanding, interpreting, evaluating, remembering, and then responding. So let's get into each. Hearing is just the physical ability to process sound and focus your attention on something. So think of this like whether you can or cannot. There are some folks who don't have the ability to hear, and so they use maybe additional devices. But for most of us, we are able to hear. So this is not active, an active process. It's just more of the physical ability. The second step of listening would be understanding. And that is when you put in some effort in terms of understanding the sounds that are headed your way and what are the literal meanings of the message that person is sending. So again, it's a little more work on your part. I think a lot of times when people talk about listening, they think of just the first step. Yeah, I heard you. When you find yourself saying that, there's obviously already some miscommunication and maybe a disconnect between the two people. Maybe the understanding was what's missing, or it could be that the third step is what is missing, and that is interpreting. That's when you start listening for more than the literal meaning. You start trying to think about the bigger picture in terms of what does it mean to me based on my relationship in this situation. What is the person really asking of me or telling me? And I think about an example of, let's say, parents. I know that some folks still live at home. If you have parents, and let's just say the mom is asking you or regularly asks you to take out the trash while you're doing something, let's say homework or video games. Let's say she comes in and says, Jason, I need you to take out the trash. And you go, uh-huh. Well, you were probably hearing you must have been hearing in order for you to respond to the sound that came your way. You probably also understood because you understand that taking out the trash means from one place to another. But you may not have put in the work to interpret what your mom's really trying to say, maybe, which is, man, I'm asking you again. We do this every day. She's not saying that maybe initially, or it could be a wife, right? Sometimes that happens, or husband. But there are implications there, which is like, hey, I need you to do this thing. And so it's beyond maybe the trash, but it's something that we can choose to pay attention to. The fourth step would be evaluating. And that is when you start comparing what's coming your way to what you already know to be true. And are you understanding it correctly? This, I think is probably the hardest step because it requires a higher level of listening and a higher level of engagement, or in other words, more work from us. That's probably why we don't tend to do this, right? We just go, yeah, 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 I got it. I know what you're talking about. But to evaluate in that situation with the garbage would be to say, oh man, she has asked me every day for the last week, and every day I have to wait for her to ask me. I could see how she might be frustrated. So let me just stop what I'm doing, go take it out, and then I don't have to worry about it. But just as a side note, as somebody who lived with kids in group homes and took care of them for some periods of time, um, if you will just take it out, if you already know that's a conversation that's going to happen every day, and 7 o'clock when you're in the middle of something you want to be doing, if you just take it out before you start that thing, then you're not interrupted. The parent or spouse or whomever is happy with the fact that it was done. It's kind of a win-win for everybody, because especially if you know you're going to take it out anyway, or the other person's going to get super upset and take it out him or herself, you get to decide what to do there. But again, if you're really listening to the message, you could probably hear some frustration with, man, are we still doing this? I wish I didn't have to ask you every day to do this thing. And then step 5 is remembering. And that's, of course, just recalling the message you heard. I think that's only possible if you have actually internalized the message. And I hear this happen a lot. People say, I don't remember you asking me to do that. Well, of course you don't, because you never fully engaged in the message when it came to you, right? If you just stopped at hearing and you were like, uh-huh, that's probably why you don't remember it. You didn't engage in it. Then the last part would be to respond, and that is to demonstrate or say, hey, I definitely get what you're asking of me. I'm going to take care of it either right now, after the game, after my friends leave, whatever it is you're going to say. But responding is, in fact, part of the process. It does take energy to actively listen. And of course, it's up to us to choose whether or not we're going to do that. But I think if you do start engaging in each of these steps that I'll review one more time, you will have better outcomes for yourself and certainly be an effective communicator. So again, those steps include hearing, understanding, interpreting, evaluating, remembering, and then also responding. I hope that was helpful for you as a supplement to what you'll be reading in our textbook. And I want to thank you guys again for watching. Have a great day.